very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
Really?
Brexit means Brexit.
Why?
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
China.
What?
China.
What?
China.
We looked at the dining table and saw an opportunity to play whiff-waff.
Strong and stable.
Stood alone last night as
Kipper, you are fake news.
Why?
the reality may be that you don't know what is going on, but people won't be able to tell the difference.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
Why? Just why?
Welcome back to Why Just Why. Thank you for joining us again. You are coming to us on our second episode in our series on Mr. Donald J. Trump. Don't even know what that was, but yeah, as always, joining me on my left we have Ian Reynolds.
Hello, folks.
To my right we have Dave Tinsley.
Hey.
And I am Craig Taylor. We are going to jump straight in where we left off, but a bit of a quick recap. Last week we were talking about Donald's family, where he got his money from, how basically it was his granddad and his dad who essentially funded him.
Yeah. Not essentially
Well,
did.
yeah.
Just did. Yeah.
They just did. Not essentially. They just did. That's why he's got money. And his granddad was a very, very fastidious, studious, random guy who basically done everything and somehow managed to. He'd fall in a pile of manure and come out smelling the roses. Just unbelievable guy. And then his dad was a con man just like him. So yeah.
So if I had to choose a Trump, Grandad Trump was my favourite Trump.
Yeah, Grandad Trump was pretty awesome to be fair.
Hardcore Trump.
He was hardcore Trump.
My favourite Trump was one I had about an hour ago. It was a close call.
But you left us last week with Ian just giving you the rundown on Trump's first project, which was the Commodore Hotel. You left us where we were talking about his connections. He's met Roy Cohn and he's managed to get himself a fairly tasty tax abatement, and he's managed to play all the sides off against each other so he can actually fund the project. So I'm going to pass back over to Ian to finish off that story.
So yeah, it gets approved, everything's going forward, moving forward and that, and it's forward.
No backs.
All forward. We have the best forwards.
It's like Star Trek.
Yeah.
Only going forward because we can't find reverse.
He does the refurbishments on the Commodore Hotel, and when you look into it, it's actually, I'm surprised how they said it was 100 million. When they said before, like his dad saying, "Oh, it's going to cost this much to build all these homes." Are you sure? Yes. I kind of think maybe he done this with
Did he say now this when he said 100 million?
Yeah. When
he said, did he say $100 million?
Yeah.
Did he say like 100 million
pesos?
Yen or pesos or something like that? And he was just hoping that no one noticed.
He didn't just say dollars, he just said 100 million. Yeah. He left it.
There's 100 million. What? Daffodils?
Was it 100 for a bar? 12p. The refurbishments wasn't necessary. It extensively looked the part, but there's not dramatically too much he'd done to it, except for externally he slapped a load of mirrors on the outside.
Oh, is that it?
He banged a load of mirrors on the outside of it, and then the inside it's basically a slap of paint everywhere, made everything look a bit more fancier, a bit more.
That just sounds like Donald Trump all over, really.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It's like, what can we do to make this better? Make it shiny.
Yeah, it's basically spit shine the thing.
I want it to shine.
So when he said to Hyatt, "Oh yeah, we need like 70 million investment from you," I think that kind of went and into my pocket. I'm not saying it did.
1 million for the hotel. 69 million for me. Oh look, there's all the money gone.
Well, that's the 30 million of the loan paid off, wasn't he? Went, I'm gonna pay off the loan. There's 30 million. I need more money.
Time to make up numbers.
I mean, it looked alright, but when you actually have a closer look, it wasn't really great. A bit confused now he spent that much money.
It was hailed as a massive success though, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it did actually generate. This is the thing that he is, and we will go on to talk more about. He's a brilliant advertiser. He can sell shit to a shoe. From that aspect as well, he is good at that. We've already mentioned he is a con man. It's all that we're going to have the best rooms, we're going to have the best this. You want to come down, you want to come see this place. Like I say,
it's shiny.
Yeah, that's right.
Markets it well, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's when you look behind the scenes, it's a bit crap. But from what the general public see of it, yeah, it does look amazing. Get down here, come have a look at it. It's all brand new, and he sells it right, sells it well, and then starts bringing people back in. Now, also to mention, at this time, it wasn't until like early 80s that it actually opened, and he's saying he's done loads for the society, but the Mayor Beam is out and has been out for a few years at this point.
Bean has
He has been. Puns, we got him.
And Koch, this new fella, is in. Now, he's been in for a few years now, and he's very anti-corruption. He's been turning the place round. So even though, yes, it's doing very well, New York hasn't done very well because he's suddenly made this hotel and look what I've done for New York. But he's playing off that.
Oh yeah, he's making it all about
that's-
him.
Yeah,
Making it all about
of
him
course
again.
it is, yeah.
Like, Koch is turning New York round, generating that revenue, bringing people in, and he's basically there to feed off the people that come in.
Oh, yeah.
But he advertises it and sells it as if people coming to see my hotel.
So he's
my
competing with the mayor.
Yeah, we
In
were
a
going
sense.
to like, there's a lot of friction there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of friction, but he's kind of feeding off him. He's using the mayor,
Yeah.
and basically what the mayor's done, and essentially kind of palming it off as his own work. So when they say, yeah, it's done really well, it's because New York was doing better. If there weren't people there, no one could just come. Like I said before in the previous episode, you're not going to go to like a shithole. If you got the money to pay for that type of hotel, you would go to a nice place. It's not him necessarily bringing the people in. It's already been changed over, it's already been improved, and that's what he's feeding off. And he's going, it's a massive success. I did that. That's what I did.
Typical Trump behaviour, like,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Takes the glory and takes the fame for what other people did.
He literally just walks on, and every time that he speaks, you can literally just hear it boil down to me.
Yeah. It's me. But do you know what, I kind of do see that in anyone managerial.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you do see, I done this and I done this and and then when he's done crap, it'll say, well, we as a team need to improve.
Yeah.
Never
We
taking
all
responsibility.
need to pull together. We all need to do better as individuals as well as a team. But mostly as a team rather than individuals, because individually I'm still fucking awesome and you're all shit.
Individually use But, however, anyway, during the renovations of the Commodore Hotel, as it was becoming the Grand Hyatt, he actually started looking towards a second project. And Craig, you've looked into this, haven't you?
Yeah, so the second project is probably his most notable one, realistically. It's one that everyone knows of, and it's the Trump Tower. So while he was sorting out all the stuff with the Commodore, when he was turning it into the Grand Hyatt, what he was doing on the sidelines was he was actually eyeing up a old building next to Tiffany's flagship store on 57th Street. It was called the Bonwit Teller store building. It was an oldish building, and he'd looked into buying it for quite a while, but every time he kind of made an offer, they just thought he was joking. Now, around about the time in the late 70s, early 80s, he actually managed to get the long-term lease of the land and kind of force out the Bonwit Teller store brand so he could have that land himself and then develop it. So this was all waiting for when he would finish his great big, look at me, isn't this hotel great, look at what I can do better if you give me even more, kind of roll on things, where he was just going to start to go, no,
Imagine what I can do.
imagine what I can do with more money, more land. Imagine if I built it myself. And so because the site was right next to Tiffany's flagship store, he saw that as a real like feather in his cap. He saw that as a really good place to put his building, make his mark, and especially because it was a new build, he could pretty much do whatever the hell he wanted to. And it's all from him holding on to this lease. So again, he wanted another tax abatement. He wasn't prepared to pump loads and loads of money into this building without some form of quid pro quo from the government. Now, as Ian mentioned, at this point, Mayor Ed Koch, he was not prepared to give him anything.
I suppose he expected to get another deal, though.
Oh yeah, he was
Happened the first
expecting.
time.
Of course, he expected to get it. I mean, it's Trump. Realistically, he was expecting to get whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
Now, this is a proposed tower which had a cost in the end of $300 million. Right? It was started in the late 70s. It was started around 1979, and although it was done by an unknown property developer at that point. I mean, he'd only done the Commodore before. He wasn't really around property. He'd never actually built anything. He'd only done refurbs. He was a completely unknown thing. So when he was saying he was going to do this massive skyscraper, everyone was like, well, what the fuck's going on? And then not only that, when he was going to do this massive skyscraper, everyone was like, what the hell's going on? This unknown going to come out and do this skyscraper. And then not only that, one of his main project manager, which at the time was unheard of, was a woman called Barbara Rez. Now, if you ever get the chance, look up some interviews with this woman because she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She's like...
Yeah, quite blunt. Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
no nonsense at all, isn't she?
Yeah.
yeah, she's quite blunt, isn't she?
Yeah, she's boss. She gives no fucks, and it's hilarious. She is like proper New Yorker, just at it, just straight for the jugular,
Yeah.
and she just gives no shits whatsoever. So he'd got the prime real estate. He'd sorted out what he wanted to do, and he got an architect firm in to build his dream. The main architect was a guy called Der Schutt. I know.
That a shoot.
Der Schutt, which is
Do you that to shoot?
is really difficult to say without laughing.
They shoot for the skies with the skyscraper.
So, Der Schutt.
Imagine he's being held up, right? What's your name? I don't tell you. The shoot? You tell me to shoot? What?
He's like, there shoot. There shoot. He's like, I'm not going to shoot, but it's there shoot. That's my name. Yeah.
Do you know the funny thing? Do you know even the architecture firm itself just sounds funny because it was poor Swank Hayden and Connell. Yeah. So it sounds like you're describing the two at the end. So poor Swank Hayden and Connell.
That's horrible.
Isn't it?
I never satisfy a customer.
My head went somewhere else. I was thinking of a poor swank.
Rather than a rich Swank.
Yeah, I've had a few poor swanks in there.
I only ever have poor Swanks.
What? I think a rich one would be like really nice, you know, but it's really nice tissue or something like that, like top end lube. Do you know what I mean?
No, it'd be like velvet and
You have a special glove you
Yeah.
put on, with like knobbles on or something like that. A little
only the finest silk.
Which is every area.
Yeah, only the finest silk and like ambergris from a sperm
Just
whale.
touch you with your little finger with it. You're like,
poor swank, vegetable oil. There we go. Oh, you can avoid vegetable oil now.
Right, so as well as this firm, which I'm not going to say again because it'll start something, he also hired the building contractor called HRH. Now, I'm mentioning these for a reason because we'll come back to them. So, HRH got in, Trump Tower, he'd secured all the funding and he was going to get to work at destroying the old Bonwit Teller building and clearing the land so that he could build Trump Tower. Now, this old Bonwit Teller building was very old for the area. Realistically, America's not the oldest of places anyway, but they're historical buildings. They've usually been there for as long as America has. This one had been there for quite a while, and there was some gargoyles with specific interest. They were thought to be worth about $200,000. So the Historical Society come to him and was saying, oh, well, we want to save these. We'll be able to pay for them. Everything's sound. He's going, oh, yeah, that's fine. Save them. That's
nice.
fine.
That's nice.
That's fine. We'll save them. Yeah, he did basically, under cover of darkness, basically just demolished them all. He just
It's like, do you want to come here about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and we'll take them down for you? Do you want to see? We'll watch. Come watch me take them down with this massive wrecking ball.
So he basically just fucked them all up. And then he was saying it was going to cost. So they were saying they were worth about 200 grand. He reckoned it was going to cost them about 500 grand to delay his project, and it'd delay it by 5 weeks, and he just wasn't prepared to do that.
Okay.
And then he even went, yeah, well, they were garbage, by the way. Like, just to kind of add fuel to the fire. It's just like, they were garbage anyway. Fuck off.
Yeah, they were shit.
Yeah, they were shit. They were shit. It's all shit. You're all shit. Fuck you all.
I'd make gargoyles.
My gargoyles be the best gargoyles that anyone had ever seen.
Do you know,
ever.
there needs to be like some conjunction with like Carlsberg and Trump, doesn't there?
Yeah.
I need to see an advert without it.
The best beer you've ever seen.
Trump's like, I made beer. They've had it.
It'll be Carlsberg. the only honest answer he's ever said.
Right, So, in true Trump fashion, he has to have something original and something to talk about. So, with Trump Tower, a lot of people don't realise when you look at it, because it just looks at you like your pretty standard skyscraper. But as far as I'm aware, it's still the only building in New York, especially one that size, which the entire frame is made of concrete, because most of them are all made of steel. Now, at the time as well, the architects were like, why do you want to make this concrete? And he was like,
Hang on.
it'll be cheaper.
This sounds like a stupid question, but you saying each floor is concrete?
The whole thing's concrete.
Is it?
The whole frame, it's all reinforced concrete, so it's concrete pillars with steel rebar in the middle, so it's not brittle, and the whole building from bottom to top is concrete. There's not, like you'd normally think of when you think of a tall building, all of those steel girders, it's all concrete.
So usually you have like your girders everywhere.
That's what I'm
and then
fascinated
you have
you
your
with.
steel
lay your
frame.
flooring and your windows on and all stuff
But
like that.
this isn't like that.
This isn't like that.
You have basically these like metal chutes coming down, and then basically you'll fill like a box around it, and then you just pour concrete down. Concrete sets. You take your wall off, and then you've got your columns then, and then that's how we constructed it.
I just feel like that's proper. I don't know. Sounds stupid.
It's
Unsafe
not, it's
building.
not unsafe.
No, it's not.
It's actually...
It's actually quite commonly used.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's just not...
wasn't
not
common
really...
wasn't common,
then.
especially in New York.
Right.
Being savvy when it comes to money, in all fairness.
Was it cheaper? Was it? Yeah.
Cheaper.
Well, it was, kind of, but not...
Wait,
this is
where
what
it
I was
gets
getting
going.
into. So,
Oh, okay.
now, generally, people will use this concrete because steel... Well, it depends on what's happening at the time. So, if the economy says that steel's quite pricey, people might turn to concrete. If sometimes concrete's quite pricey, people will turn to steel. In New York, concrete prices were pretty high, generally. And people were wondering, why the hell is Donald Trump making this enormous skyscraper at enormous cost and doing it in concrete? Why isn't he just doing it in steel like everything else does in New York?
That's a great question, Craig.
That is a great question, David. I think I will answer my own question now.
Go for it, buddy.
I think I will. Now you see.
you, buddy.
Now you see. Do you remember there was a person Ian mentioned in the previous episode called Roy Cohn?
That's no, folks.
That's Dave's thinking noise.
I have a thought.
He's not even saying it out of his mouth. We can hear it in his head.
Right, so Roy Cohn obviously had some part to play in this because the concrete business in the whole of New York was run by the crime families that Roy Cohn
Right.
had a lot of association with. So essentially, it ended up being a case of Trump would pay Cohn, Cohn would pay them. They would pay Cohn. Cohn would give Trump his concrete because Cohn was organising this sale for all the mob bosses, so they'd pay him. And then Cohn was organising slightly cheaper rates for the concrete for Trump, so Trump would pay him. So Cohn was getting paid twice for the same deal.
It was brilliant, lad. It was brilliant.
There was so much mob association with Trump Tower, so much, and they always try and downplay it as well. But it was there; they had their fingers in every pie with this. And even his project manager Barbara Rez, she will openly admit to everyone who will listen to her, yeah, there was mob fingers all over this. I mean, there was rumours that the concrete may contain other things other than steel, but none of them has ever been confirmed. So
anyone at the time who found out about it.
Not says stability like human bones in a building.
Well, that's how they used to save money. Do you know what I mean? Instead of using up valuable space with more concrete that costs more.
yeah, I mean the concrete costs a fortune. Just
Here's an elbow, here's a leg.
if you were putting the tiles up later on in that area, you just see a hand poking out. I'm gonna have to plaster over that.
just sand it down a bit.
It's still moving. It's weird.
The skull and the walls is like.
Look, a lovely themed wall. It's amazing how they've got that.
Looks like a face in the wall. What's going on?
all the way through this, the building's actually going quite well. He's getting a hell of a lot of publicity for this, and it is relatively it's uneventful, really. The building goes up quite easily. Even for buildings at the time, it was usually pretty dangerous work in skyscrapers, especially in New York at the time. But even then, I think they had relatively few deaths for a site like that.
Yeah.
And it was a decent build. They managed to get it up. They managed to get it up pretty well. And then the opening
My
party
missus has
for it.
never said that to me.
I'm sorry for bringing up your problems. I'm sorry. Trigger warning for anyone like Ian. But it went up pretty well. There wasn't really much in terms of problems.
So was it common for people to die making these buildings? Yeah.
Generally, yeah. They were very dangerous sites. I mean, when you're talking back in the late 70s, early 80s, there wasn't anywhere near as...
Health and safety
was just not even
Oh,
thought
it's
of
like that
back
famous
then.
poster where there's loads of air where he's sitting on a girder.
Yeah. But it's like, even then, it was like the skyscraper with the concrete frame. Where I've said, this building cost 300 million to build. That's estimates. We can't actually get a proper figure of how much this cost to build. And originally, when they said they were going to build it, they said it was going to cost 100 million to build. So it ended up being at least twice that, because it was 125 million actual construction costs, and then other costs on top of that. So like site insurance and bribes and more bribes, and then bribes, and well, mainly bribes. So it cost at least twice that.
Right.
Yeah. There was a couple of incidents which I'll mention just because they're funny. Not funny, but in Final Destination kind of funny.
Well, that is funny, isn't it?
That's a good knee slapper right there. It went through his face.
Yeah, so
Imagine the look on his face.
so as I said, there was relatively few to accidents, and a couple of them were nasty. Like one worker died when they were first doing the foundations because the sidewall collapsed on top of him and buried him.
It fell on top of him.
Yeah.
In the cement mix you go.
What dies in the building stays in the building.
Right, and then another.
That was Tony the Fingers. Yeah.
So another death. It was the only other death that I could find on record. Was essentially this is why I said Final Destination. So in May 1983, a glass window pane fell from the crane installing windows on the tower and smashed into two pedestrians.
Oof.
Fucking
Only
hell.
one of them died. If something like that hits you from a crane, how are you not a pancake?
Was there not like a massive claim or not?
Yeah.
No, it was settled out of court as far as I'm aware. But this,
Yeah,
this
I
is
saw
it.
that you would have heard more.
Yeah.
They probably put a...
But it was done
Like a
through
no disclosure thing or something?
Well, it was done through insurance and everything. That's why you paid insurance. Realistically, this is through the actual like construction of it. So you don't hear that much with construction accidents. They usually just go, "Oh shit, oh bad," and then just throw money at you.
Money makes everything better.
Money makes the world go round.
Dad, it's okay. Daddy's cutting off. It's like we got two daddies now. He can hug both of us.
Right, so it's all gone off without a hitch. The building's done. It's done in concrete. It's got that kind of wow factor of, oh, this is the first one that's been done here. It looks great for Barbara Rez because she's built this building. It's brand new. It looks amazing. Everyone wants to live there. And then you get to the inside and this thing looks like a sultan's palace. There is marble and gold and
Chandeliers.
glass and chandeliers, and it's like, you know, when you were 3 years old and you think to yourself, I wonder how rich people live, and then you just think everything's covered in gold. That's basically what it is. It's like an Arab sultan's version of what rich should be nowadays.
I'm just thinking, do you know, if he goes like a Turkish barbers or something, it's like, you know, it kind of reminds me of that. Or if anyone's been like to Marrakesh or something, it always makes you think of like that style of like just extravagance and gold and shiny.
Yeah, and if it's not gold, it's marble. And if it's not marble, it's crystal. And it's just, everything's so extravagant and over the top and ridiculous. And that's just the entrance hall. There is actual, like, retail units inside Trump Tower where you can go and buy ridiculously priced solid silver dog bowls and models of New York skyline that cost millions of dollars. It's ridiculous.
Was it there that they had a doorman in the British
Yes.
uniform with
the Beefeater costume?
No, it wasn't even the beef. It was the Royal Guard. He had the bear skin on his head, so he looked like he was standing outside the Buckingham Palace.
Oh, right.
It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's not the Beefeater.
No, Beefeater Tower London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, Beefeater Tower London. So all of this was like Trump's crown jewel at this point. Now, there's another interview with Barbara Rez, and it's hilarious because not only is this place got retail units in, it's got office space in, and it's got condos, so where people can live. And they're selling these condos for unbelievable amounts of money, especially for the time. They're selling £1 million condos. They're selling £10 million condos. And then Barbara Rez is like, this building's amazing. Look at this building. I built this building. Isn't this great? And then you go into one of the condos and she's like, it's like 15 pence stuck on floor tiles and shitty doors and shitty windows and crap paint and awful wallpaper. And every single time she's like, we've made this amazing expensive building. Why are you putting shit into all of these condos? Trump would just be like, make it cheaper. Make it cheaper. It's done. It looks good on the outside. Make it cheaper.
Well, apparently this happened with... So was that even when he was actually monitoring his dad's company?
Yeah.
The Trump Village and that. Trick that is like dad taught him was if you need to go round and paint someone's apartment, obviously not you're going to do it, bloody hell. That's peasant way. But they wouldn't allow them to go round. He was like, just here's 2 buckets of paint to go do. No, here's 8 buckets. And water. You one coat it, you get out, you get it, like everything, the cheapen down everything, and that's definitely something that influenced that got instilled, because that's something his dad done from looking at that, and he's thought how much money we're saving, and he's doing it at this level. And and
this is it. I mean, he's selling tens of millions of pounds worth of condos. It's ridiculous. So the actual tower was completed November 30th, 1983. Bearing in mind inflation and cost of everything, and if you're saying 1983 money, this cost somewhere in the region of $300 million. How much do you think it's worth now?
Billion?
Yeah, easy over a bill.
Estimates put it at about 371 million.
What?
That's what the estimates put it as, because
that's how shit it is.
That's how shit it is.
It's only gained 70 million in...
No, it's not gained. That's what I was saying. Like, value-wise, it probably should be worth about $1 billion or maybe more.
No, because this is it. It's like, it peaked... It's gone up and down. It peaked at about 600 mil, and then it's gone off a cliff, and it's gone off a cliff even more, the value of it, because Trump is now president. So as the luxury...
I do not want to be associated with that.
Who the fuck wants to go? Where do you live? Oh, I live in Trump Tower. God damn it.
I didn't vote for him.
I just gave him money. I didn't vote for him. Honest. But this is it. It's only worth around 371 mil. Now, if you listen to Trump, obviously that's not the number he's going to give you, but that's about what it's worth. And it's the least desirable luxury apartment complex in New York now, because it is dated so poorly throughout the years. This place,
they just haven't refurbished it for the years.
Well,
and
not even that.
Same.
I mean, the lobby looks the same as when it was opened. It's covered in marble and gold and everything. And imagine walking into that nowadays, you'd just be like, "What the hell?"
It's tacky as hell. Yeah,
it's tacky as hell. Nothing's changed, and that's basically what it is now. It's only worth about 371 mil.
Do you think there's a possibility in another 30 years, if it's still standing, the price could shoot up because it looks so different?
Because it looks so old.
Yeah, things. Do you know what? Like, the way like fashion and stuff goes.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like literally, well, that's what you can get. Converse, tight jeans and all stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back.
Yeah, our fella goes, "You used to take the fucking piss out of me for all this. No, all the little shits are wearing it."
It's like, I'm not being funny. I used to be properly ripped the arse off for wearing Dunlops, because Dunlops were shit. And they were shit. And they were cheap. And then, it was only about 5 or 10 years ago, everyone's going, "Oh, Dunlop Green Flash, remember them?" And then they become popular again.
No one remembers them. I was the only one who fucking had them.
I had them because I was poor. That wasn't something to aspire to. Why the fuck are you spending a fortune on them now? I mean, it could do. Fashions change. So, realistically, it was a success. It was a massive success. They were selling all the condos. They were making a fortune. All of the money was coming in. But on the promise of doing this tower, it wasn't even really a promise. It was the assumption of building this tower. Donald thought he was going to get another tax abatement. Now, that didn't come. So he went to Ed Koch and he was like...
Yeah, because different mayor this time, isn't it?
Different mayor. And not only that, Ed Koch did not like Donald. There's a top and out ceremony that you can see when they're building Trump Tower, and he's standing there, and he's standing next to Donald, and they give each other like the nastiest handshake you've ever seen in your life. They look at each other, and you can see the daggers just getting passed between them. And already at this point, Donald knew he wasn't getting this abatement, but he was still kind of like pushing it as though he was. The mayor does a speech where he says along the lines of "May this building stand for 1,000 years," and then goes on to say, essentially, it's a shame that only rich bastards will be living here. And then
we can house all the rich fuckers in it.
And then it's like it starts this little tit for tat thing where Koch is like, "Shame it's only for rich motherfuckers like you," and then Donald's like, "Yeah, but I mean, it's good, isn't it, that we brought in all these jobs and all these people are building all these houses and we brought in so much money for the city because it's the best building that." Best builders and the best construction workers, the best architects, and the best mobsters gave all of their. The best companies gave all of their concrete to us for reasonable prices, and no mob bribes were involved at any point."
I love the fact we brought all this work into the city, which is good for the city. So what you had companies that are probably maybe not in the city bring extra workers in from a lot of those workers probably even went from New York, or if they went, "I'll come to New York, I'll do this, we've got work like 2 years, have you got any more construction?" No way.
Well, the funny one as well is that there was over 200 Polish immigrant workers who were brought in to work on this.
Here we go, at the point.
Yeah, 200 Polish immigrant workers who were brought into this. Now, before you start doing a South Park and going, technically they may have took their dare, but they didn't get paid for it, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They just got fucked off. They didn't get paid.
They didn't pay the workers.
I was going to say, well, bad enough. I don't mean like take the jobs, but like say if you got someone coming over to that area, I don't even far from Poland, like say they're from bloody Denver or something, and they go, "Oh, there's some construction work going over there, it's like 2 years solid work. Okay, I'll move to New York." Next thing, okay,
I'll stay in New York.
Yeah, I'll stay in New York. Yeah. Okay, now your population's increasing. Now he's looking for work. Maybe he can't find work. Oh, maybe he goes to crime. Maybe he sticks some dick. I don't know.
But it's like
great time in the 80s in New York.
But at least you could argue, as an economist, you could argue that during that 2 years, you've got someone who's actively participating in the economy, who's paying for things, who's living there, who's spending money in local businesses. But if you're not paying your fucking workers, how the fuck are they going to contribute to the economy? So anyway, right, obviously Trump is a bit pissed off that he's not getting his tax abatement, so he does the one thing that Trumps know how to do. He sues the government. So he takes them to court. Unfortunately,
because he threw his dummy out.
Yeah, he spat his dummy out, and there's so many interviews out there, if you can find them, they're hilarious. So there's an interview where him and a council member called Ruth Messenger are getting interviewed, and she's talking about these tax abatements being supposedly to help the economy, and it's a discretionary benefit, and all he's doing is attacking her. It's the first kind of time you see him bare his teeth, and he's just going, "Where are you getting your information from? You're talking crap." And she's going, "Well, you're going to get a $300 million tax break." And he's going, "Where did you get your information? The Times?" He's like, "Well," and she's going, "Well, no, the Times said 374 million. I did my research." And it goes on like that, tit for tat. But it's the same tactics he uses today, where he's going, "Oh, you're getting your information from the wrong places. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't got a clue. You haven't got a clue. You haven't got a clue." She's the only person who would have a clue. She was the person who was looking into this shit. She was the person who was saying, "There's no reason for us to give you a tax abatement. Why would we give you a tax abatement? You're going to fuck us by us giving you this tax abatement."
I'm looking at the numbers. Where you get your numbers from the newspaper? No, I'm the one doing the number. I gave the newspaper the goddamn number.
I have the fucking numbers. If anyone would have the numbers, it's fucking me.
Yeah, I am the numbers.
Well, it's what he says to her. Like, this actual quote, he said, "I am, by law, entitled to that abatement." That's an actual quote he said to her.
What?
"By law, I'm entitled." And she was like, "No, you're not." And he even like the fella that she presenting it was like, "No, you're not." But it's
the way
a double take.
But it's literally the way that if you see it in the faces, it's like he goes, "By law, I'm entitled to that abatement," and it's like it doesn't compute in her head that he's just said it, and she just goes, "No, you're not. That's not how any of this works. That's not how any of this works." And she looks at him in confusion, and then, as Ian said, the other guy does the same. He's like, "Well, no, you're not." And then she goes, "It's a discretionary benefit," and he just doubles down. He's like, "I am entitled to that benefit."
But he literally just charges on with his view on things, and he doesn't say it as a perspective. He says it as if it's a fact.
Yeah.
And if you stumble for that second, it only makes him feel more confident.
Yeah.
And that look of confusion confusion of like, you absolute idiot. He's like, that's because I'm right. He now
They're
feels
confused because they're doubting themselves.
Yeah.
I win.
You can see in his face, like, just
You just want to hear bow, bow. That's all he hears, isn't it?
That's what he's doing the pounce. He's doing the pounce. He's doing bow, bow. You see his hips going a little bit.
His hair's just like
It's flopping from side to side. Down. It's a ridiculous situation. He's taken the government to court for a discretionary benefit, and obviously he gets told, on your bike, F off, not happening.
It wasn't even offered anyway. It wasn't. He assumed.
This is the thing. He assumed.
Well, I got it the first time.
They never offered them it at all, and he just assumed. So he took them to court. They're like, yeah, whatever. Now, this is where Roy Cohn doubles down. They take it to the appeals court. On the 5th of July, 1984, the Court of Appeals grants the abatement.
what?
They grant the... Don't know how, don't know why, don't know what palms were greased or not greased. It boggles the mind that it got refused, and
Well,
then...
that was because Cohn, wasn't it? Like, Cohn really got on. But Cohn said, I went, you probably won't get this. And he went, no, I will. Cohn's like, oh, I understand. Let me look into that for you.
But this is it.
You only have to ask that old.
We literally have no idea what happened. But you've got a good idea who was behind whatever happened.
Yeah.
But I love how he approaches him. He goes like, yes, Donald. I understand.
I understand, Donald. So, you know, I'm going to put a picture as well up on our social media accounts of Roy Cohn with no explanation. Unless you've listened to this, you won't know why we're putting Roy Cohn up. But I'm putting him up just so you can see his face. Just so you can see what kind of guy you're dealing with.
Let's not even say no more about him like that. Let's just let people view it and see.
Well,
So,
people said he had like a presence, didn't he? There was a few comments about him. It was always a presence. Even if you didn't know anything about the man, he'd walk in the room, and for someone who didn't have just a big, large stature or appearance that way,
he didn't look imposing.
Yeah,
It was just
his face, how he held himself. Yeah. Apparently, he had this really intimidating presence to him. Even not even being threatening at all, just walking in, looking at you like, oh.
It's like people would actively get out of his way. Even if they didn't know who he was, they'd just actively be like, not fucking with him.
Yeah. He looks like one mad bastard.
So, 1984, 5th of July, Court of Appeals, they grant the abatement. 7 approve it. There was only 7 on the court.
Wow.
It was a unanimous decision.
Some threats were made.
It's nuts.
It's insane. It's insane. From the amount of pushback, don't know how he done it, but he ends up getting a $74 million tax abatement. Just out of nowhere.
That's not that, isn't it?
That is crazy.
So on a tower he's already made so much money on.
Yeah.
They've basically just handed him another 74 million, just gone, there you go, Don. Enjoy.
I was actually, when we was looking into this, I mentioned this to my dad, and then my dad said, and I'll be honest, like, my dad doesn't always come up with like the most what's the word? No.
Articulate?
Yeah, that's the word, lad. I'm not articulate, obviously.
Comes up with that word.
Keep that in mind. I did it with the word.
I used the thinking word.
And as you can tell, neither am I.
Like father, like son.
Yeah. So, I'd say he's not the most articulate person all the
You
time.
had to struggle to think
Yeah,
about
I
it again.
did, yeah, I
didn't
did
you?
really well again. But in all fair play, I explained this to him, and he paused, and he said this back to me. So I had to write it down because it killed me off. He said, let the average person request a tax abatement on the mortgage, allowing them to free up finances, which in turn can be spent, thus aiding the local economy. Would they be approved? My ass. I love how he just spit very elegantly put it, and then just paused, looked at me and went, my ass. I was like, that. I love you.
You see the pride swelling, and then the my ass, the pride diving.
No, that's when it peaked. That's when it. I was like, I think stood up, like, put my hand on my chest, like the national anthem would come on.
He's got his tax abatement. He's got his amazing tower. Everyone thinks the world has got another god living in it. And he's managed to shit on Ed Koch because, well, realistically, he hates Ed Koch. Now, just to drive it home, just a little tiny bit, within his eyesight from Trump Tower, there's the Wallman Rink. So it's an outdoor ice skating rink that's in the middle of Central Park, and it's been closed for a number of years because it's fallen into disrepair and the concrete base of it was bowing. So they closed it down for refurbishment. They were going to open it up.
And Trump has loads of concrete left.
Well. So this rink, the local government it's improving, but it's still on its arse. It's gone through a load of different projects. They were supposed to have gotten it done. It got delayed. Building contractors fell through. The price started skyrocketing, and it just ended up being this money pit that no one could get through. And it was a big embarrassment for the local government because they couldn't do this simple thing. So he says he did it out of the goodness of his heart, but let's face it, he done it to stick the knife in. And nothing says that more than the actual letter that I'm going to read out of verbatim that he wrote as an open letter and published so that the mayor could hear it.
It was about 20 pages, folks, so get 4,070.
Get comfortable. No, it's not that long. Right, okay. Dear Ed, for many a year I have watched with amazement as New York repeatedly failed on its promise to complete and open the Wellman skating rink. I and other New Yorkers are tired of watching this catastrophe of the Wallman Rink. The incompetence displayed in this simple construction project must be considered one of the greatest embarrassments of your administration. During this 6-year period, I have constructed major hotels. He hadn't. Apartment buildings. He didn't. And Trump Tower. I'll give him that one, alright. Yeah, he did that one. Building the Wallman Rink, which essentially involves pouring a concrete slab, should take no more than 4 months' time. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. Sincerely. That
It sounds like he's writing during the war,
isn't it?
Like the Civil War or something.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's those bits where he's like, I've built an apartment building. No, he didn't. And I've built hotels. No, you didn't. You refurbished a hotel. The one thing you built is the Trump Tower. I'll give you bet a tower, but other than that, you didn't do any of that shit. Stop talking bullshit.
We have it on paper. Lying sack of shit.
It's literally that letter could not have said "fuck you" more than if he'd literally just gone up to his face and said "fuck you."
Just with a smile and on his shoulder. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
That's from the heart.
So essentially, right, he's thrown the gauntlet down now, and he's turned round to the city and he said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this built. I'm going to do it in 6 months, and I'm not even going to take any money from it. I'm going to do it without making a profit. So he goes to his old guys who built Trump Tower with HRH, and the first thing he says, you're going to get so much publicity from this. You're going to get so much publicity. You're going to look amazing. You're going to look great. Everyone will want to hire you. You're not doing it for any money. And it's going to be brilliant, and everyone's going to hire you. What was that? You're not allowed to earn any money. And everyone's going to hire you. It's going to be great. It's like, what? It's like, but think of all the publicity. So eventually it gets them on board.
Yeah, that's right.
Gets them on board, and it gets them to work on this Wallman Rink. Now, what doesn't get publicised is that even though he's not making any money, he's actually running that Wallman Rink, and he's taking all of the money for the maintenance. He's taking all the money for the people to skate on it. He's charging admission to it. And not only is he doing it for this rink, he's doing it for another one as well.
Oh, does he do two?
No, he doesn't build two, but he gets a concession for another rink called the Alaska Rink. So he gets to take all the concessions for both of these rinks. Right?
How?
Because he's basically doing the work for free. So he's again managing to get ways and means to get the money, even though he's saying he's not making any.
It was part of the agreement contract. So he openly slated Koch in, he was doing it public in the media, where Koch was at a point we had to turn around and go, okay, you've got the contract. And when he says, okay, got the contract, that's when it comes to to Trump, when he does this beautiful thing of, okay, Now let's discuss this contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What this will stipulate is that I get this, and this. So he doesn't just get the job and get to do it. It's not a case of like, oh, you just go get to do it. Oh no, there's lots of small print in there.
Yeah.
Plenty of small print.
typical,
Plenty of small print. So even though he's saying he's doing this like literally just out of the goodness of his heart because he wants New York to heal and feel well, really what he's doing it for is to stab Koch in the back, get some really, really good publicity, and basically make a shit ton of money, which obviously that's all he's about.
Yeah.
So they do. So essentially, HRH comes on board. They get promised all this publicity in the world. Not only do they finish it within the 6 months, they actually finish it in 4 months, and they do it under budget. Now this is all down to HRH, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna look great. We've done such a good job. This is amazing. This is brilliant." And on opening day, when everything's opening up, the big banners get unveiled, and HRH, where they're expecting to be like side by
praised
side and
that.
praised with Donald Trump,
Yeah.
it just says Wallman Rink, you're skating, and it's brought to you by Donald J. Trump. And at that point, the boss of HRH is like, shit.
It's no, there was like there's a little picture of Trump, right, and he's got like a little middle finger pointing down, right, and just a very small print at the bottom. It's HRH. It's like fuck you.
But it's like he was just completely screwed. This thing was all about self-promotion.
Yeah.
It was all the majesty of Donald J. Trump and the way that he can just make himself look amazing, especially in the face of the mayor, who apparently couldn't get this done in like 4 years.
Oh yeah, that was
Probably kicking the teeth to the mayor, isn't it?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Do you know what though? Isn't it surprising that Trump just didn't get like assassinated or attempted assassinations and stuff from people like who fucked him over?
Yeah,
I'm quite surprised. The amount of people he's fucked over in the past, I'm amazed that none of them have had to go.
Or do you think because he's best mates with Roy Cohen, who's
yeah, Roy Cohen just
some
had a way.
influence going on?
That's the beauty of him, right? He's savvy when it comes to screwing people over. Right,
Yeah.
making the extra couple of quid and knowing who to know.
Yeah.
And one thing he has learnt, and as he's done this, and the whole reason doing it as well, is, well, not the whole reason, sorry, but like a major factor in it, is publicity. Get your face out there in the public. Generate interest in yourself. Give people confidence. The fact of, oh my God, even if you don't know all the details, they're just seeing you in the news. It's all
Just seeing him
association.
in a good light all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? And it's all that association with him. He done it brilliantly in his last project. We did mention the fact that there was so many things he'd done, like on the news, in magazines.
Yeah.
He was getting involved in like anti-bullying campaigns, just anything. And he was doing stuff for free as well. He was saying that, just saying like, oh, I'll jump on that and I'll jump on that. And he'll get people in, get them to do it, just get them to do an interview with me.
Literally anyone who wanted an interview with Donald Trump would end up getting an interview with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It was so
He'd
easy to
always
get
say
him on the
yes
phone.
to television and stuff, wouldn't he?
Because he knows, like he'd throw himself in the highlights because he knows if he's out there, people are seeing it, people are associating.
Yeah, that's it, man, yeah.
And it gives you confidence in it. Oh, yeah, in his company, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? People are like, oh, I'll go have a look at that. I'll go have a look at this. Oh, he seems like a nice fella. He seems like he's doing all this positive image that he creates.
Yeah.
And he's really good at that. Isn't he?
During the 80s as well, he was king. It's like if someone said something about Donald Trump, people would think rich, successful, amazing businessman, knows exactly what he's doing. That was the image that he cultivated, and that's the image that he created, and everyone thought it. Everyone thought it.
The norm was handsome, and I never got that one. But I think that's just the money. I think that is purely they look at when you see him, you just see money like that, and you go, God damn, he's sexy.
I think when he was younger, when he got with Ivana, he had the right build. Do you know what I mean? He was never like chiseled features or anything, but he wasn't ugly. He just had a decent build, and he looked all right. But then as he got with Ivana, and the money and the power and the cheeseburgers came in. That turned him into the tangerine we know and love today.
But even like, I don't know, hair's not a major thing, but it seems to always keep his hair, and it just gets thinner and thinner. And he's like, I think he does like a triple comb over type thing to make it look like he's got hair.
It's like it's
but
like a ghost of a fringe at this point, isn't it?
But he's had that since, like, it's been that bad since he was like 20, do you know?
Yeah.
It's so, like, I mean, one of the things ago, and he had a good set of hair, a good head of hair on. I'm like,
when?
When he was 5.
His hair's just gripping onto his scalp as hard as it's can for every little gust of wind.
I love it when you see him walk out in the wind. It's the funniest thing in the world. You see his hair flop over to one side, and then his tie will fly off, and you see the bit of sticky tape he's put on the back of it to try and stick it to himself.
Like, I didn't realise there's such things like a tie clip. Do you know, you just put to your shirt as well. Like, how does that work?
No, that's his dad's influence. His dad's like, don't you be wasting money on no tie clips. You're on a construction company, we've got double-sided sticky tape, use that.
It's a tax deductible.
It's a business expense. So I'm going to pass over to Ian, and we're going to talk about his next project.
But his actual next one as well. Before I actually started another one, he proposed one which kind of got declined. Now, as we've already mentioned, Koch come in, and New York itself is doing a lot better. It's starting to do well. People are feeling a bit less desperate. It's not that there. There's no cry out for like, oh, we need work because there's no work on. We need this because there's work. The economy's getting better. You know, people don't need stuff. People aren't looking out for something. And at this point, he says to everyone, he announces he's going to build the world's tallest tower. But all he needs is a little tax break.
Just a little tax break.
Of $1 billion. Just a little.
It was that fella out with the Goldfinger already. $1 billion.
He's always thinking he always wants money off, so what, like $1 million to start out? It just gets more each time, doesn't it?
It's like he can't see how far the elastic stretched. Yeah. He's just like, I just pull it a little bit more, it's never going to snap, it's fine.
Yeah, it's never spending his own money, it's always like, I'll use your money.
Yeah, that's smart business. If you can that, if you don't ask, you don't get that, do you?
Yeah.
People don't stay rich by spending money.
Oh, sadly for Trump, Koch pisses himself laughing.
I wonder why.
He goes, no, Mr. Trump. Yeah, we can't really help him out too much on this one, as you know, $1 billion.
Yeah, that's never getting through.
I'm sure at this point though their relationship's pretty bad now.
Yeah.
No, the thing with Koch at that point, realistically, they'd been at each other in the media so much. They were constantly calling each other morons and dickheads and everything under the sun.
Yeah.
There was no repairing that relationship.
But it's funny his reaction. Now, when Koch refuses requested abatement, Trump starts kicking off, getting in the media again, openly calling him like a moron and an idiot. And
even for Trump, that seems like a really stupid move, though, doesn't
he was getting quite childish with it. And
when someone says to him no, though, he does. He just jumps on it. He just doesn't care.
He was getting in the media, calling him a moron, and just being like dead abusive, quite childish about the fact that he couldn't get this billion. It's like he wasn't asking for much. It's $1 billion abatement. And he was even actually said, New Yorkers want the world's tallest building, and frankly, so do I. And I know that comment itself, like that's an actual quote. Like he's saying, you know, that's what everyone wants. You know, I do too. Like, you know, but I'm with them. I'm one of the people, and I am just trying to give them what they want. Like as if everyone's going to now start going, yeah, we do want it.
He's already starting with his early political career going on here, isn't he? With words like this.
He is a master manipulator, right? Yeah. He's a con artist. He is. This is what he does. And then like he goes on obviously in a few different interviews. One of them he turns around and says, we've already mentioned the fact that this was in better times. Now obviously in better times people don't really want to kind of rock the boat as much. There's not much call out for people aren't desperate for jobs or anything like that. And a reference to this he actually makes himself, and he says, I'll wait for a more progressive administration, and more importantly, I'll wait for bad times, because when bad times come, I'll get whatever I want.
Oh yeah.
Like, how insidious is that?
That sounds like a fucking Bond villain.
Yeah. That is naughty, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like
He's horrible, isn't he?
I've made a comment here, just a note. Trump has eyebrows like Boris's hair. It's interesting reading back on your notes.
Shout that like.
So after this little setback for him anyway, very unjust and very unfair. Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to just get a $3 billion?
So then he finally actually does go on to his fourth project. It's in Atlantic City in New Jersey, just a state over from New York. And this is a casino. So now he's getting kind of in a different business. In actually doing the decor for the building itself, his now wife gets involved heavily in this. Ivana.
They did have quite a bit of a romance throughout it, and she was a model from Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Originally.
I think that around the media, they were first, here's a model, what's she doing? Getting involved with the business, what's she going to know about it? But she can't talk to it like, a duct to concrete.
Depends on when he got the concrete.
I mean, have you seen little ducks running across the concrete? It's really good. But no, she took it really well, and apparently she was a really hard worker as well, and she learned fast.
She was a phenomenal worker, to be fair. I mean, you can't say enough about Ivana. Everyone thinks she's just some dumb blonde airhead. They really don't know her. She was well in there.
Yeah, she just... But isn't it mad though? Because I mean, did she not have any business experience on her all before doing all this?
Within the modelling world, she had obviously concepts of that.
Yeah.
But she was a very driven person to even get into modelling herself. She kind of just didn't just fall on her arse. And in all fairness, I think people underestimate modelling, you only stand around, but it's very intense. Like, why you don't have short days, you generally have long days, long shoots, goes into it's kind of like acting, goes, you throw them around from this place to that place and that place to that.
You got to run around, you got to do everything very physical, and then you got to do it where you can only eat a carrot stick as well, because you're not allowed to put on an ounce unless you don't fit in the dress properly.
So now she's used to that work rate. So even though she might not know it all, she threw herself in, and it's not like she went in as a manager. She went in from the ground up with Donald, was learning what to do, and she had the artistic perspective as well, and was turning around and saying, we're going to decorate this, and she actually went from like room to room, place to place, and she did personally herself. She went around there. She didn't just say like a kind of managerial perspective, I want them doing like that, I want this doing like that. No, she was in there every room.
She checked everything. There was an interview on one of the documentaries that we watched with one of her friends who was saying she literally was going to meet her for lunch, and she was like, right, I haven't got time to meet you for lunch, you can follow me around. And she was going around every single room in this place, just like Ian said, but she was writing it down, going, that banister's chipped, that mirror needs to be screwed on the wall a bit tighter, that door's squeaky, that this, and she made sure everything, even though it was made to Trump standards really cheaply and crappily, she was making sure that it was to her standards. And then there's a boss quote by her as well, I don't know if you remember it, where she was saying, as well as going around and making sure everything was sound, if it didn't move, speak or breathe, she painted it gold.
It's like Donald found the right woman at the time though, isn't it?
He really did. It's like,
isn't it? Like
it boggles the mind, because he basically found another him, and I don't understand how it broke apart.
It was a bit mad, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's might slate or might say things about Donald, but what you can say is he puts the hours in. Like, he gets up early, he works all day, and he lives to work, he lives to make money. And he has just found someone. He found someone who was literally just so
ideal for him.
insane.
Really,
Perfect for him. And I mean, she loved him. You could tell that she loved him.
Yeah.
And even so much so, even after all this divorce and stuff, they're still in contact. They still speak together. Still talk.
At this point, she wasn't in charge of this casino, but she had a lot of stuff to do with the refurbishments and everything. He actually made a different fella, Steve Hyde, which essentially he made like the president. He called it the chief operating officer, but essentially the president or director of the casino itself. And it was a year later.
Is this Trump Castle that you're talking about?
That was actually the next project, which was about a year later he opened up, which is fifth one. And in this one, he actually puts Ivana into the chief operating officer, the top position for that one, like the director, because it's set in the same city. There's he's opened two casinos in the same city. They are now rival casinos, so you've got like this you got a lot of conflict going on between this.
So she's
Steve
the boss
Hyde
of one, and Steve Hyde's the boss of the other one, is it? Yeah.
And so even though they both work for him, they're both his casinos, they're getting very competitive with each other, undercutting each other.
It was ridiculous. It's like someone would give someone a comp line. Say, I don't know if you know much about casinos, but if they've got a lot of money, they'll like give them complimentary rooms or give them complimentary food or something like that, and they'll give someone these lines of complimentary stuff because they know that they're going to get that back tenfold with the amount that they gamble. And say, what was the initial one called? The Trump Plaza.
First casino that he done was Trump Plaza. Both trying to do really well and stand out, and he kind of pitted them against each other. He revelled in it.
Oh, he loved that.
He really did revel in it, and they started kind of like really competing in the sense of like undercutting each other, offering something. If someone does one thing, well, I've got to go do it better.
Yeah, so like they'd maybe Trump Plaza would offer a room for free for a high roller, whereas then Ivana would get wind of it and go, well, Trump Castle, we can offer you a suite. And then it'd just be a total game of one-upmanship from then on in.
It's so weird though, isn't it? Rather than competing with all the other casinos, why are they competing with the same company?
Trump loves it.
Yeah, they're doing
weird.
it for that favouritism for Trump, to stand out, to say I'm better.
He wants to be a king, doesn't he? That's what it is.
He buys off it, he feeds off it.
Yeah.
And there's even, I don't know if you heard the story there, that she actually got a chopper to collect someone from Steve's casino.
Yeah, I
And
think
brought
I
him.
did hear that. Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah, his own chopper, and brought him to her casino. Like, that's
God.
the stakes
So
that they
it
had
was
with each other.
costing so much money
Yeah.
to just get that extra one up over the other side.
Oh, that's like bad business management, isn't it?
Terrible business management.
But he was loving it. He was feeding off it, but it shows the levels they will go to win. In the mid to late 1980s, this is where Trump really hits his stride. Started living it up a little bit, and at this point he said he's allegedly got a net worth of $800 billion.
Yeah, he's essentially like the richest person who could ever possibly live.
Yeah. He's the best richest person in the world. We do rich
Trump
better
has an
than anyone
annual
else.
GDP that's bigger than the entirety of the United States.
And he starts living a bit more lavishly and starts going on a bit of a spending spree.
Yeah, so he basically just buys, well, everything, realistically. What else can you say?
What big thing does he buy when he's going on a spending spree then?
Realistically, if you went on a spending spree, like say you just thought, I'm feeling a bit flush, what would you buy? I'm not talking about Richie, I'm just talking about you now.
Cocaine.
Right? Now, he's a straight living guy, so he doesn't like cocaine. So think about a possession, something that you might keep. What would you buy?
Blow up doll.
Hotel? Well, not Trump. Trump goes out and buys an airline. As well as an airline, he buys a football team, puts his name on board games. He buys basically everything that you could possibly think of. If there is such a thing as diversification of a business, Trump is like the king at this point and goes into businesses he has absolutely no fucking idea about.
Yeah, just dives in with 2 feet, just going, I'm doing this and I'm doing it the best. For cutlery, he was using 24 karat gold.
Oh yeah,
that's right,
on his shuttle, on his
plane.
shuttle planes,
Yeah.
24 karat gold cutlery. It was ridiculous. Again, the insides of these things that he'd get, it's like everything. If it wasn't breathing, moving, or speaking, it'd be gold.
But mind you, like I say, we say 24 carat. It's just
24
painted gold.
Yeah. It's 24 karat gold, 3 microns thick on the outside of stainless steel.
Yeah, well, he's not lying, is that?
No, it's technically 24 karat gold. I didn't say how much was in there. But it's just ridiculous. The guy basically just goes out and buys everything because he thinks he's the king of the earth. Yeah, alright, fair enough. He is wildly successful. He's got a lot of money. But if you think about what he's actually done, he's had, 4 projects
Yeah.
that have been successful?
4 buildings which have done alright. Oh no, sorry. So you got 4 buildings and
One refurb.
and a ring.
Yeah. So you got 1 refurb, 1 building that he's actually made, a skating rink that he just got someone else to do.
Yeah.
He didn't really do that at all. He just went, you go do this.
Got that for free as well.
Yeah. He finished a casino that someone else had started, bought one that someone else had finished,
Yeah.
and that's it. But he thinks he's like king shit.
King Don
of
Juan.
the earth.
Yeah, so he's just
King of
just
the
goes
castle.
nuts. Go
Just goes
absolutely
nuts.
like mental. Just maybe he was worth, or maybe he genuinely believed he was worth 800 billion because he was spending like it. It was.
Yeah. He's spending other people's money
It's just,
to that amount.
it was unreal the amount of money that he was spending. But then it's crazy because during all this as well, his marriage is still like pretty rock solid. I mean, Ivana loves him. Every time she's seen on the news, she's like, my husband's so amazing. I love
Yeah.
my husband so much. I love him this, I love that.
Can't say more nicer things. Well,
She literally can't. I mean, this looked like the life that everyone would want to aspire to. He's got a supermodel on his arm. He's got lovely little kids. He's got all the money in the world, and he can buy whatever he wants.
Yeah. Literally, like, if there was an American dream, he is living it. Like,
Yeah.
And people still say, oh, he's self-made. He's self-made. No, he's not.
no, yeah. I'm a self-made man. Wait, small loan.
Small loan of an entire fucking company.
It's amazing how much little lies can just snowball though for him, isn't it?
It's crazy.
To be fair, like, in that perspective, it's his manipulation. that creates his self-made. It's the way he just manipulates and takes advantage, and that's done it for him. Like it's madness.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like.
I mean, at this point, fair play to the guy. He has taken an amount of money and made it significantly larger. Like, significantly larger. But he's also playing with fire for the amount of stuff that he was buying at that point.
Yeah, he was going ape shit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just going nuts. But it was around this time as well that he met a woman called Marla Maples.
Now, don't forget, his missus was managing at Trump Castle, and so he found himself this little Marla Maples, this little dancer, performing and stuff like that. Lovely body. Ooh, that's a nice one, man. And he had her staying at Trump Plaza in the other casino. So, and he was keeping it quite apart at first. He was keeping, quite be a bit crafty with it.
Still down low.
Yeah. She's working that side. But then over time, he just gets a bit more flamboyant with whatever, don't care. To the point where, there's places where his wife is Havana, and he's rocked up, or at least invited Marla to. So they're both in the same, and you can tell the type of person he is. If he's a person who's, even though financially it won't be more beneficial to him to see his own two casinos like vie back and forth for his approval, he was beasting off the fact that his wife and his girlfriend are in the same room. And he's got a massive power trip off that. Oh yeah, he's like, I am beast. Like he is. That's what's made him hard. Not the actual fact that he's got a supermodel and a dancer. It's the fact that he's going, and neither of them know that they're here.
He's probably the type to be like, when he's banging his wife or dad girl, he's got like mirrors all around the room,
like a scene from American Psycho. Yeah.
That's the kind of type, isn't it?
Do you reckon he bangs with a suit on?
He's Bateman.
Probably. Just top off.
Holding his hair up.
Huey Lewis in the news in the background. Just looking into the mirror, just staring at himself, kissing his bicep.
His hairy, flabby arms. I say that, I went to kiss me old man, I went, oh, that's a hairy, flabby arm.
Oh no, he is definitely a Patrick Bateman on the side, isn't he?
Yeah.
You can see him just going,
what do you reckon he gets his missus to shout out? You're the king. You're God. Like,
you're the Don.
Don. No. Would you reckon he shouts out his own name?
I reckon he does.
Donald.
Oh, Donald. Oh, Don. Big man. Oh.
She will go, Mr. President.
Almost landing to the helipad.
So around this time that he's playing, essentially hide and seek with his girlfriend and his wife, he actually releases a book. So his book, the one that everyone knows of, Trump, The Art of the Deal.
Oh, yes.
And now when I say his book, he's actually co-author with a guy called Tony Schwartz, who was a journalist at the time.
It's like pay someone to do your biography, but then you still say, I kind of wrote it because it was my life.
It's my life, yeah. That's essentially the amount of input that he had. This guy wrote the whole fucking book. And only if you listen to Trump wrote the whole thing when he was 6 years old. It came to him in a dream and he wrote it on toilet paper and all kinds of shit like that. But yeah, he wrote the whole book according to Trump. But it was this other guy, Tony Schwartz. Tony Schwartz himself called writing the book the greatest regret in his entire life, without question.
Oh Jesus, it's a major compliment right there.
He'll be known for that, won't he? That's the thing.
Because this is it. It's supposed to be like a biographer. Schwartz, the guy who actually wrote this, said he should recategorise the work as fiction.
Oh, really?
Really?
Jesus Christ.
That is how much this is just, it's bull.
I'd love to have read the reviews at the time.
Bullshit. Trump has put out I can't remember the exact number, but it's something in the region of 12 books. So Trump's put out...
That sales.
Well, this is
and
it.
he bought them all.
He bought them all. Now, Trump has actually put out somewhere it's in the low double figures of books that he's put out himself. This, The Art of the Deal, is the only one that has ever made money. Literally the only one. Every other one cost more than it ever made.
Do you reckon he, with this one, do you reckon he just bought most of them himself?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a room in Trump Tower that's literally just full of these books.
He didn't even buy it for the sales, just because the front cover had a picture of him.
Either that or there was like...
He's probably that naive. He's walked into the bookshop and, oh, book about me, I'll buy that.
Walk back in, oh, another book about me. Oh, another book about me.
There's multiple copies of that.
It's like either that or the pillars in the Trump Tower that have got some of the bodies in are finally crumbling, so he's using it to prop the seal.
Jam the Well, he's, when you say about the author of that book as well, he had some other things to say about him. You said he felt he had sociopathic tendencies. He said he didn't really have a clear concept of what was right and wrong.
Yeah.
When he was giving him examples of stuff, it was a very disturbing feedback. You get, well, no, that's fine, that's okay, I can do that. And it was always from his perspective. You couldn't wrong him, but he was allowed to wrong you.
Yeah.
And when actually trying to advertise and promote the book, there's a comment he makes himself, Trump, and he says, if people screw me, I screw back in spades. I can screw, that's fine, but if you screw me, I'm really gonna fuck you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so self-obsessed.
You better take it, but if you try and hit me back,
Yeah.
I'm gonna triple whatever you hit me with.
And he said it actually disgusted him, kind of scared him a little bit, the way someone with that wealth and that power had that mindset and had that mentality. So it's a bit eerie, someone who's got to know the fella, not just from us, where we read some stuff about him or see some stupid things he says. He's actually spent a lot of time with him. I think he'd spent over 100 hours with Trump. I couldn't imagine spending 1 hour with Trump, 100 hours.
I've spent not even a quarter of that doing research on Trump, and I feel emotionally destroyed. Spending that time with that guy would probably finish me off.
Yeah.
The thing about this book as well, this is one that it's Trump. it's just Trump. So when this book came out, Trump and Schwartz, they had an agreement to split the royalties 50-50, right? So in 1988, Trump set up the Donald J. Trump Foundation, and he was going to give away the royalties from the book sales. So in Trump's words, not fake news as he will say it is, but it's Trump's words, he promised $4 to $5 million to the homeless, to Vietnam veterans, for AIDS and multiple sclerosis. Right? Mm-hmm. A Washington Post investigation said those donations largely didn't happen. He said he gave less to those causes than he did to his oldest daughter's ballet school. The Washington Post asked Trump's campaign, when he was actually running for president, if he had donated the $55,000 that he'd earned in the first 6 months of 2016, when his book took an uptake because he was running for president, to charity as he'd promised, and they declined to respond. On the flip side of this, right? So in 2016, Schwartz said he received somewhere in the region of $1.6 million in royalty payments for this. And in October that year, he said the royalties he was still receiving for the book once he saw that Trump was running for president suddenly became for him blood money, and he didn't want to be anywhere near it. It just felt wrong to even have it. Right? So as a result, he said he'd be donating the previous 6 months of royalties worth $55,000 to the National Immigration Law Centre, which advocates for more undocumented immigrants to remain in the US legally. And he'd earlier donated royalties he'd received in the second half of 2015 worth $25,000 to a number of charities, including the National Immigration Forum. He said he wanted to help whoever Trump was attacking.
And this is coming from a fella who knows him a lot more than most of the media, anything that we see.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time. I think about 100 hours, that's a lot of time. If you hang out with people, that's a couple of hours. You've known someone for quite
you're talking about a span of months.
Yeah,
it's a good few months.
He's actually really got a chance to know him, being told all inside stories, and probably a lot of lies and exaggerations. But you're seeing that as well. You're seeing how he interacts with other people. And
you'll probably be able to see through a lot of those lies as well. You'll probably be able to see the bullshit.
Yeah, the longer you're with him, the more time you spend directly with him, you're going to see that, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to see the bullshit.
And he would have done a lot. He wouldn't have just believed him as well. He does research.
Yeah.
So you're putting the research in with what he's saying and just seeing it all and being like, oh my God, you mad bastard.
That's it.
Going back to Marla Maples, this relationship does start to grow a bit more now, get a little bit more serious. And Trump thinks, I'd rather spend... Well, this is what's perceived, really, is that Trump maybe want to spend a bit more time with her, want to kind of force his wife out of the situation a little bit. So, as you can do, because you've got the money, You just go and get yourself a nice...
the money.
Yeah, I got all the money. In New York, he buys himself the Plaza Hotel. Just drop in the water, 408 mil. He doesn't.
Fucking hell.
Right, now this is the interesting thing. This is a man who will make scrapes and cuts on everything of the costs to try and save that extra penny for himself, right?
He'll use like
It's
single
all
ply
about
toilet
finances.
paper in all of his rooms and everything like that.
Yeah, do you know, he'll do anything he can to get that extra. It's all about easy. We've described already the fact it's all about money, generating money, saying it's wealth. He didn't even haggle on the price. They said 408. He went, okay. Now that's not.
It's not like
That's
him at all, is it?
unheard of.
Yeah. Do you-
Unheard of.
Especially those numbers as well. That is madness. Which means obviously he's doing it for a reason. What he said to the media was as well. He just seen something he wanted and he had to have it.
Oh yeah, that
Right.
was the excuse he gave, wasn't it? It was like, oh well, I see it every day from a window, and then the reporter's going, well, I see buildings that I walk past every day. I don't think I've got to buy them. He's like, well, it's just a different mindset, isn't it? I just have-
Yeah. When I see something I want it, and I know I have to have it, I
remember
get
seeing
it.
that.
Yeah. Well, so he does this, and then after he purchases the Plaza Hotel, he makes his wife the new manager of it, which means she's now out of Atlantic City and back in New York. She's out the way. He's hardly going to ever see her. A bit more, it's don't forget, America is a massive place. It's not a small distance. It's not like you can just pop over. It's a completely different state. It's a neighbouring state, but you got states in America which are bigger than Britain itself. It's
Yeah.
not like you can just pop home, which makes it a lot more easier for him to develop this relationship with Marla Maples. Well,
That's the thing. He's willing to spend 408 million just to develop this relationship. It's crazy for him, isn't it?
Well, I
Yeah.
think the other thing that kind of backfired for him as well is that once Ivana was in charge of the plaza, she really dug in like she does with everything. She really got into it. She was really good at refurbing. She did everything the way she wanted to. She made sure all the management was on the same wavelength. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she ran that place like a tight ship, and everyone knew it was her in charge. So much so, when it came to the grand reopening under the Trump management, when Trump turned up with her, they walked into the room and no one gave a shit that Trump was there. Everyone only wanted to talk to Ivana because she was the one that done it all, and everyone knew that she was the one who done it all, and that pissed him off something rotten. That fucking annoyed the shit out of
every
him.
time it raised him, it was not a happy bunny.
You can see it when there's videos of him walking in, and you can see that Ivana's loving it because she's getting the limelight, and Trump, oh fuck, he is pissed off. So pissed off.
Fucking furious. He's all about that fame, that attention, that praise. He is that type of character,
It's not all on him.
and
That's
she's
jealousy, isn't it?
yeah. She's taking that away, and that's I think that's essentially where, even if he still gave a shit about his wife, that's it right there when he's starting to think, oh, you bitch, like how dare you take my thunder?
Yeah, you're not getting better than me. No one's better than me.
Yeah.
I'm the best me there is.
I am God Trump. During this period where he's on his mad spending sprees, he actually goes out and gets his third casino. Now, this also is in Atlantic City. A third casino in Atlantic City. He's just competing with himself now.
Yeah, he's basically trying to own Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And with this as well, he was banging out all the positive notes, wasn't he, as well? He was saying it's going to be the largest privately financed building ever. It's going to be second only to the Pentagon.
And to be fair, I mean, he wasn't technically wrong. This place was fucking huge.
Big place.
Yeah.
Big,
Massive.
big place.
And he was saying it was worth billions of dollars, apparently. And apparently the bankers were in line to lend him money.
Yeah, by now, I mean, all he had to do was say his name and everyone was thinking, Jesus, this guy's successful. So everyone believed everything he said.
We're going to end it there, but we hope we've got across this mad streak that he was on. He was just accumulating, generating wealth, building more stuff. He was kind of on a roll. He was, well, from what we can perceive, he was on a roll.
He was literally, I mean, he made himself out to sound like the king of the universe. And at this point, I'm not surprised he felt like it, because everything he seemed to touch turned to gold. And if it didn't, Ivana would paint it that way.
Yeah. It was, I think some of the media did say he had the Midas touch. Or
Yeah, the
probably-
Midas touch, yeah.
Yeah. It was probably him. It was probably
him. It's probably him.
But we'll leave it there.
Yeah,
Right.
we will finish here for this week, and we're going to pick up right where we left off next week for part 3. So thank you once again for joining us. As always, Down in the description, we have all of our social media links. We have our email. Please contact us. Please like, please share, please subscribe. And we will catch you next time.
Right, folks, thanks for listening. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.